What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals. Hey, Kyle, you wearing that? Is that some Movie Meals merch you got
What?
on, my guy? Get out of
Why?
town.
Yes, it
You
is.
kidding me? Hey, guys, you should go get some of the merch. It was my spring break, and I usually am not checking the merch stuff, whatever, and I clicked on it the other day. We had some buyers went over this week. I was like, all righty,
Oh,
I'll
that's
take that.
awesome. Thank
So,
you,
guys,
guys.
please, the merch is super comfortable. Like, it is awesome stuff. I'm
Oh,
wearing the sweatpants, but I don't know if I can. I'm not gonna try to show that off. And I've also been
go
wearing them for
get up
2 days.
and twirl a little.
No, I don't have the space. But guys, go get some of the merch. I'll link in the description. As well as thank you to our patrons before we get into this for supporting our videos. It means a lot to us, to Steve, Kimberly, and Karen. You guys are amazing. We really, really appreciate it. If you're not a member of the Patreon, you'd like to support us, please go be a member. We've got new stuff for merch and Patreon tiers dropping. And it would mean a lot to us. All right. So Falcon Winter Soldier, I want to throw this out there too. Lots of announcements. We have changed the Another Happy Landing podcast platform that you can find on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Apple, all those places, to the Movie Meals Podcast Network. We want to start posting because Marvel's going to put out so many of these reviews. So we're going to start posting these reviews in long form where you can just listen to it. So you don't have to necessarily check out the long video on YouTube where you get an opportunity to listen if you're on the go or something. So any giant, really big nerd review, any spoiler-filled review that tends to be 30 minutes or more, we're going to start posting there. Zack Snyder's review is up on there. The first Falcon Winter Soldier's up on there, as well as Another Happy Landing will continue, which Tanner and I just dropped. A little bit of technical difficulties, apologize on that, but we just reviewed a Phantom Menace, got really sweaty on it, briefly touched on some of the books we had finished as well. So go check all that out, guys, and please help spread the love with Movie Meals. It means a lot to us. So now let's get into it. Falcon Winter Soldier, episode 2. It was about 50 minutes, a little less because they do a weird 7-minute credit run. But
Yeah,
I mean, it is a movie. The movies are long. They just are putting this
basically.
half of a movie on TV. But let's just jump into just the first kind of thoughts. And Kyle, what were your first thoughts? What are you feeling after this episode? You still digging the show? Did you like where this second one's going? Did you not? Where are you at?
I'm getting surprised by how much this show feels like it's a slow burn. I don't know if you're getting that sense. It's a bit surprising for me anyway, just because I guess on the surface level, it seemed like it was mainly going to be an action adventure, spy thriller type of show, and it still feels those familiarities similar to Winter Soldier, but it's really is taking its time to like make this story become a mystery more than I thought it would, and I am liking it. I am liking that they want to take their time. I'm just wondering how people are feeling about that episode overall. Right now, I'm feeling good about it, but I'll wait and see how the rest of the season flourishes to see whether I like how they're doing that or not. But I think this second episode, it really did a good job at crafting some good surprises that I think are not only fleshing out possibly the MCU, but are just fleshing out this show a little more and are making those mysteries all the more interesting. I'm not sure which of those you really want to get into, Alex. I was thinking of John Walker and getting to see a little bit of backstory with him. And I think Wyatt Russell, who's playing this character, is doing a really good job with it. Like, people obviously don't like this character, but I think that's the point. Like, he's supposed to be kind of like a dude out of the army who is trying to
Yeah.
do the best he can. You can tell like he wants to succeed at this job and not necessarily be the same Captain America at the same time. But for some reason, there's just this underlying layer of him to where you're like, I don't like you. Like, I know you're not trying to be a bad person, but why do I not like you? And I think it really is delving into the mystery of like, what is this guy's role going to be with the world or with this show in general? And it's really making me curious about it. And he's doing a really good job with giving me that curiosity factor. And I'm also wondering if he's a super soldier, because it sounds like he's not, but at the same time, he's doing a really good job of like throwing the shield and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I
Well,
really
he
wonder,
said he didn't
is
have
that
super strength. He said it to
he
the
said it?
interviewer.
Okay.
He said, I don't have, like, I think he said, like, I don't have the technology. I'm not a super soldier and I'm not incredibly smart, is what he said to them. But he did throw
Okay.
that. I think that's a little bit more too, just on the shield. I think back to the first Avenger where, Howard Stark is talking about how the shield is super versatile. So I wonder, because we've also seen in the
Mhm.
trailer Sam throw it, and Sam's not a super soldier, but he's throwing it with a little bit
Yeah,
of gusto. So it might just be that that's vibranium and that's the way the shield is built.
could
I
be.
mean, Cap's throw is always going to dent you more than anybody else's, but
That's
um,
the thing. It just seems like it's the well, I mean, I guess there's no real way to compare it, but on the service level, it just seems like he's throwing it just as well as Cap was. So that's why that question popped in my head. But if he says he's not a super soldier, maybe he's lying, or maybe he actually isn't, which I would like more actually. I don't really want him to be a super soldier, unlike with this cult group, which we probably will get into later. But um so far I like the character at least. That was just one thing that I was curious about, but he answered my question. So
what was weird to me is when he pulled out a gun. Like just seeing a guy in Cap's uni pull
yeah.
out a gun felt so strange because Cap just doesn't use them. I
Mhm.
mean, he did in the first Avenger because there's that iconic shot where they all come in, right? And he's got the shield and he pulls the
Yeah,
gun
he's got
out.
the
But
shield and he's like, "Let's go, man!"
yeah, but
Ah! Yeah, yeah.
he gets away from it, and it felt weird. But I really like the
Off-putting.
direction this show is going. The only critique I'd have is it does feel quick. Like it feels like, all right, we're here,
Oh,
we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here. I get your slow burn with the plot, and that I'm digging. But like literally, I mean, it's just, oh, Bucky just showed up on a military base. Now we're off. Now we're, like it was a little bit like that. Something that Game
okay.
of Thrones fans complain about to no end. Um, but that's the only maybe minor critique. I'm really liking the show. I do think people loved WandaVision so much that people are kind of, I think everybody's liking this show, but I think people loved WandaVision. And
That could
so
be
this
it.
is just struggling because so many people loved that. But
It
I
also
mean, it's
took them a
getting
while
plenty
to
of
love it
views.
too. It did take WandaVision a while to love it too. Like honestly, people might forget that. Remember the first 3 episodes? Everyone's like, this show
Yeah.
is
Everybody
weird. And then
complained
episode
except
four,
us.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Remember? Hey, just wait till you get what you want. No, I want what I want right now. Well, why don't you just wait? Gets what they want, episode 4. Oh, this show is amazing because I finally got what I wanted. Well, you're the Reddit loser who made Rise of Skywalker suck. Anyway, um, I really liked fleshing him out. Like the Good Morning America interview, I thought was really clever and
That was
good.
good.
I mean, great shameless promotion by Disney to get their own product out there. But I really liked fleshing him out. That is something the military would do. They would go get a top-notch soldier to take over the mantle. Oh, Captain America in this world's best friend was black. Well, we're going to give him a black sidekick, and now he's got a black sidekick. Like that is something
Yeah.
that the government would do, and I like the banter they all have. I mean, obviously, Falcon and Bucky have great banter, and they're starting to become I like that the whole scene with them with the therapist. At first, I was like, this feels a little intense, but then I ended up really loving that scene with them staring at each other. It was funny. It was interesting. It really fleshed them out because I think you can see Bucky actually wanting to get better throughout this show. We see Sebastian Stan
Yeah.
wanting through his performance that he wants to get better. And I think it's really good. Um, I am very curious where they're going. So there's a rumor. So his buddy from the first episode, who's not in this one as much, is like buddy who gets beaten up, who
Yeah.
finds out everything. Apparently, what his name in the comics is, or he's got a different name, but it's slightly similar to a sidekick that joins Falcon, and then when Falcon becomes Winter or Cap, that he becomes Falcon. And so a lot of people are wondering if at the end of the show, Falcon will become Captain America, and then this guy's going to become like a sidekick Falcon. Um, I'm okay
Okay.
with whatever they do because I like that character. I think he's really funny, and he's got immediately had really good chemistry with Anthony Mackie. So I'm all for whether they make him a hero or not. They do want to expand their heroes. They clearly did that with WandaVision, and there seems like they're doing that here. But I really like this episode. The whole meeting, I can't remember the character's name, but meeting what do you remember his name? It's the
Oh,
black super soldier that they have a
Isaiah,
huge
Isaiah, right? Yes.
Isaiah. Yes, I
Yeah.
loved all that, and I really loved Anthony Mackie's play off of it and how he acted when they got out. Of course, the government tried to make more super soldiers, and of course, they
Hmm.
had conflicts. I'm just really loving it. This is just a side tangent just popped in my head, so I want to ask you: have you seen all the memes of of like now Bucky is in the first episode, we see Bucky hanging out and trying to make amends to people he's hurt. And people have been cutting those scenes together with clips of when Iron Man goes, "Do you even remember my parents?" And he goes, "Oh, I remember everybody." Or when he fights Black Widow and she said, "Oh, you could at least remember me." And he's kind of still in his fog or whatever, but because they fought each other during their old training days, like it's just the connectivity is so smart, so interesting. I love Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie in these roles. I think they're just A+ talents. I think they're just awesome. And this episode I really liked. I want to ask you, because you texted me about it. So they didn't drop that it's the hand. They said it was a different name. Do you remember the name? I don't remember off the top of my head.
Flag Smashers. That's the group
Flag
name.
Smashers.
Yeah.
Then why aren't we smashing flags on our helmets? This is the hand. I refuse to believe anything else. WandaVision still's opening the multiverse. We are still getting Reed Richards, and that is the hand. Those are the three rules I'm living by here.
We're one step ahead of you, Feige. We know what your real plan
So what do you think about all that? Do you think it's a smokescreen, or do you think it's something? What are you thinking?
I honestly don't think it's a smoke screen. But it sure would be cool if it was. I don't know how it would be though. Like it seems like at face value, it's just going to be this sort of terrorist group, and that's fine with me. There doesn't need to be a big reveal for who this group is, and honestly, it makes more sense.
If Zemo though, if our boy Zemo, because they're going to visit him, that's gonna be the start of this next episode probably. If Zemo is still in prison, because I just assumed going into the show he had broken out and he was the leader of this group already.
Yeah.
If he's not, all the man has to do is come in, take control, change the name. Boom. The Hand. And it could very well not be the Hand. It could very well be Kevin Feige going, "Look, we're going to get people to lose their absolute minds and never stop talking if we just put a handprint on the face masks." Or, somebody in the art department said that and was like, "Man, we can make them freak." But I still think the Hand is at play. Because there's a lot at play with this universe. And I liked getting that fight where they're on the train, or the fight that when they're on the highway and they're fighting on the different 18-wheelers. I really liked that action sequence. The banter between all four of the heroes was really, really good. The main leader of the Flag Smashers is in Solo, and it's the only other thing I've seen her in. So seeing her pop in, I was like, look at Disney. Remember, she takes off her helmet. She's like that group that is fighting with them all the time. And then turns out she's an early part of the rebellion, but she popped up and I was like, good for her, keeping that strong relationship with Disney. Now we get to see her be more of a villain, which is interesting. And I'm curious where they're going with this kind of cult villainry and how Zemo's going to take over, because we've seen images in the trailers of Zemo putting on one of the masks, and things like that. So I'm curious where this is going, but any other thoughts you have either off of that or something else you want to touch on?
Well, I want to reverse back to where you're saying about Falcon and Winter Soldier having that group therapy session. I do agree with you on that it was really cool to see Bucky really seem like he's trying more to be better, and Falcon is the one that's being more is more pushing back on it than he is. I thought that was a really interesting development. And it also checks out why they're more upset at each other than usual. They usually bicker at each other, but this seems like it's on a different level. And it's because, Falcon's obviously conflicted about him giving up the shield, but at the same time he felt like it was the right thing to do, only for the government to choose someone else. And then Bucky is mad at Falcon because Bucky felt like Falcon was the right choice. Same with Cap. So now that Falcon gave it up, why couldn't it have been Bucky that does it? So I thought that was a really good look, even though at themselves, even though it was only a 5-minute scene or something like that. It was just a really good character moment and of their relationship between one another, I thought. And I want to go back and talk about the Isaiah character, because yes, it does check out that the government would do something like that again, and they would treat a black soldier like that, despite him serving his country and trying to do the right thing, which is unfortunate. But it also, there also is MCU ties to be possible too. His grandson in the comics becomes one of the Young Avengers under the name Patriot. So it's possible like maybe that young boy has the super soldier serum in him himself. Like, I mean, that if
Ooh.
they're wanting young Avenger tie-ins, like not only with Wanda's kids, as we thought like would happen right away with the last show, but maybe that could happen. Maybe that's what they're teasing, or maybe it's not going to be that, and it's just for development on this story. Which either one would be fine. Like you could probably make it work well to where it can be both at the same time too. But that was a really cool development. I really thought that was a really good angle to look at that type of stuff.
You're getting at me for thinking that the guys with hands on their helmets might not be the hand, yet you're connecting Young
Well,
Avengers characters that just said
well,
3 words. I'm
come
coming
on.
after you, sir. No, I like that. I like that a lot. That would be cool, especially because I think they do want to get younger with look, Disney clearly wants to keep Tom Holland around, and I think that they will make another deal with Sony. Because what did they extend it to? Do you remember? They
This deal's
extended it for
about
help out on
closed
one
up.
more that
One more
he could
Spidey
appear
and one more some other
Avengers,
movie.
right?
Maybe, I don't know. I think
I
so.
think
Something
they
like that.
want to.
Someone else comment and let us know.
Either they're going to do everything they can to keep the deal, because Tom Holland said he'll play Spider-Man for the rest of his life, which I think would be amazing. If he can be the Hugh Jackman of Spider-Man, that would be incredible. But if they
Yeah.
lose out on him, because I think they want to do something with a young Avengers type crew, and Tom
Mhm.
Holland can lead that. If Tom's out, you got to bring in some of these new characters like this that would work, that could join Kate Bishop or Miss Marvel or something like that. So we need this kind of younger crew. But I want to go back to that another just a moment I really really liked from the therapy session, and it's when Bucky, I can't remember the exact wording, but Bucky says like, he says he chose you. They kind of argue about the shield, and he says, well, he believed something about if you fail, then Cap never believed in me or something. Like he believed in you because do you remember what I'm referencing here? He has a very intense moment.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's a big close up on his face. He says something along the lines of, that he was wrong about me, I think is actually what he said, that if he was wrong about you, he's wrong about me. And actually, I think that was exactly what it was. And that to me summed up a lot, where
Okay.
Cap's decision to give Bucky or Falcon the shield because he knew Bucky couldn't handle it, or not necessarily handle it, but that Bucky didn't earn it, that Bucky went down a darker path and Bucky needs to come back fully before he could really take it on. And I think that Cap, by giving him the shield for Bucky, says to Bucky, hey, you can come back from this and Sam will help you. And so when he says that to him, you really feel it within him, that he wants to get better and whatnot. I just really loved that moment. I thought it was really well done by the three of them, honestly, all three of the actors in that room, including the therapist, who I kind of like that it's a wartime therapist and she drops lines like, oh, I know him. Yeah, we used to do some cover ops back in the day or something. Like it's really, it makes for a funny moment, and it just works. Another really funny moment I liked was when Anthony Mackie, when Falcon's like, what are you, White Panther? And he goes, no, White Wolf actually. And he goes, what?
Yeah.
Like it was that, because I remember when the White Wolf, like, it was an after credit scene came out and everybody was like, Bucky's back, the Winter Soldier's back, even though we all knew he was coming, and White Wolf was a character from like an alternate name from the comics or whatever, and we were like theorizing all this stuff to have that come back and be a joke a couple years later in the timeline and movies later. It was just fun. But
yeah, that was.
Did you hear Wyatt Russell's very first audition ever was for Captain America for the first Avenger?
Yeah, that news popped up on my time on like Instagram or something somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not too
that was
surprising.
really interesting.
Yeah.
When you look at guys like him, who then now he is playing Cap, but he's playing a different version of Cap, which I'm sure for him as an actor, for him not only to have been honing his skills the last few years, last 10 years really, since that audition probably was, but now he gets to play Cap in a different version of Cap, which is just a cool idea. You think of guys like John Krasinski, who also auditioned for Captain America and now is being heavily linked to Reed Richards, and things like that. So it's interesting, all these people that Marvel, didn't go with, who they might go with later.
It also just goes to show, how these casting directors and these casting choices, they honestly know what they're doing. Like they can see clearly like who the great talent is going to be. It just turns out that they can't, excuse me, they can't, make it work sometimes, but maybe they can in the future. And, same with Tom Holland. Like Tom Holland had an interview recently where he was auditioning for the role of Finn, I believe it was. And,
Yeah.
clearly that didn't work out, but it still worked out for him to play Spider-Man. Like that must be a crazy job as like a casting director. I think that's like one of the few jobs in like the industry that really fascinates me the most.
Yeah, and I think Tom Holland also auditioned for Han Solo in the Solo film.
I wouldn't have
Um,
doubted. Yeah, that's cool.
but I think back to, like those casting direct, like the story of how Chris Pratt got the role, and the casting director
Mhm.
who fought with James Gunn was like, no, trust me, he'll bulk up and he'll be amazing. Um, I think of, and like Jon Favreau, who's the one who the studio wanted Tom Cruise. And Jon Favreau
Yeah.
said, no, look, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be great in this. It's perfect for him. And look where we are 10 years later, more than 10 years later. It's just amazing.
Mhm.
But anything else on this episode? I mean, it's funny because I feel like these reviews have been a bit shorter than WandaVision because
A
we're
lot
not
less
sitting here.
theorizing.
We're not sitting here being like, where's Reed Richards? Where is he? But
the Fantastic Four is showing up. They're involved in this show somehow. We'll see.
They're about to, and I still love the fact that they are going with the Winter Soldier vibe. It feels
Yes.
very much Winter Soldier, Civil War-esque. Honestly, Winter
Mhm.
Soldier more than anything else. And I really like that, just in the way it even looks, the way it's shot, the action. And it's a different type show, and I'm really digging it. But do you remember what's next? Is it What If?
Oh, the next show. I was like, the next episode is coming up, Alex. But yeah, the next show, either What If or Loki.
No, I think Loki's in June, and I think there's something
Okay.
in between. So I think it's What If.
And What If's just an anthology show, right? It's just a bunch
I
of
mean,
random
we're still gonna review
episodes.
it.
Well, sure. Some of those look kind of interesting. So, but yeah, I think because Winter Soldier and Falcon, this show is only 6 episodes. I thought it was like same as
See, I was just
WandaVision,
about
which is
to look
9.
that up. In Falcon and Winter Soldier. Is that true?
I believe so. That might be why the runtimes are so much longer, because they need them longer to fill in like a 6 episode window.
Wow, 6 episodes.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I think when you also get down to it for WandaVision, I think they film it like a movie. I mean, they're filming this like a movie. That's one of the big things that actors have talked about over the last really 15 years with, with Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, and these television series. You look at like Watchmen, like a show like Watchmen, and Regina King goes, no, I just filmed a movie. They just cut it into parts and put it on HBO. And
Mhm.
that's what they did. They filmed a movie for both of these shows, and they probably had no clue what the episode numbers would be until they started getting in the edit. And they probably looked at WandaVision and said, no, these perfect spots are where to go. We should really drop these episodes like this, and we'll end up having 9 or 8, whichever how many they had. And then for Falcon Winter Soldier, they said, it just probably doesn't make as much sense. We should really just drop these a little bit, make them a little longer and make their endpoints here, because you wonder how much stuff is on the cutting room floor on the script. But 6 episodes, wow, we only have 4 left. That's boggles my mind. I was guessing like 8.
Yeah.
So that's
Same.
nutty. And then we'll get their documentary as well, which will be fun to review, the making of this show, just because WandaVision was so interesting with them doing live audience, and then them also kind of going out and doing some really cool wire stuff to Falcon Winter Soldier, which might be very different. So I'm excited to see that. But anything else on this show, or should we wrap it up?
I just want to know how Zemo is involved in all this. I really like that actor and the role that he did in Civil War, and I'm curious to see how much more that they can expand on it, or how much, because a lot's changed for that guy. I mean, it's possible that everyone blipped out, but he was still in jail for those 5 extra years. So
Yeah.
who knows what the heck is happening with this guy?
Yeah, and he very well might. Daniel Bruhl is a incredible actor, and if anybody who disagrees needs to go watch his filmography. I mean, I believe he's in Inglourious Bastards, and is
Mhm.
great in that. Amazing in Rush, amazing in that very underrated movie with Chris Hemsworth. But I'm curious where they go with him, because if he was around for the blip and he thinks the Avengers need to be dismantled because that they cause more problems, then I can definitely believe that he's on the side of thinking that half the universe should get wiped out, since he was one of the lucky ones to survive. And I
If
do
he
like,
was, we still don't know.
yeah, and I think
Yeah.
the episode will open with that, and I hope it's a good 15-20 minute conversation. Like that's
Yeah.
what I love in Marvel now. They've gotten to the point where just the characters talking is so much more fun than the acting or the action.
Yeah.
And so if they open up with them just visiting him, I think it would be really, really cool. Or they'll probably open up with like a little prison montage of him getting like escorted to the meeting with them. And we see what his prison life is like. But um, yeah, I'm interested to see where he's at too, and I'm glad he's back for this and the villain in this,
Hmm.
because the man is just a talented actor. And we don't know, so they've announced WandaVision's one season, and this is probably one season, correct?
Right now, it seems that way. Honestly, right now, I wouldn't be shocked if they would want another season of this show. It might make more sense than a season 2 of WandaVision. But we'll have to wait and see how the rest of the show plays out. But my guess right now is, um, or that's just my guess right now anyway. I honestly don't know what their plans are.
Yeah, I think the smart thing for Marvel to do is these are miniseries, and they should keep them as miniseries. And a miniseries can be one
Sure.
season, it can be 12. Um,
It's a very loose term.
It really is, because that's just the way television has moved to. But when we don't know how the story ends, but when we get to the ending here, if they set themselves up where it would be very easy for Falcon and Winter Soldier to come back and go on another mission together, then let's
Mhm.
do it. Because like WandaVision ends where it doesn't really make sense for Wanda and Vision to be back.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have other Vision floating around, but we don't have the same Paul Bettany version. So it just doesn't make as much sense. And I think this is just smart by them to then, who knows where Wanda, maybe they'll do a Young Avengers like TV show, and they're gonna, have everybody together
Good.
for a 10 episode, well, knowing Disney Plus, because every time we think 10 episodes would be so amazing, they give us 4. But that would be very cool, as long as they got to start putting some of this in theaters though, when theaters open back up. Because if they announce that the pilot for Falcon Winter Soldier's in theaters, I'm going to go see that. I'd rather see that action on the big screen. Because they're filming it as if it's a movie. They're not filming it as if it's a TV show. So I hope they eventually get back to doing some of that. And I'm curious where Black Widow will tie into everything too, because Black Widow was supposed to air before all of this. So if this has any weird ties to anything, might be kind of interesting. But I know it's a prequel, but you never know what villain shows up, or something like that. But anyway, I think anything else? I've said that 3 times, but anything else?
No, we can finish off here. Let's see what season 3, episode
Episode
3
3.
has in store.
Yeah.
Episode
All
3.
right, guys. Thanks for tuning into this episode, whether it was on YouTube or on any of the platforms that we are on for the Movie Meals Podcast Network. Thank you to our patrons again. Remember, guys, like, subscribe, share. Go get some of our merch. It is great, comfortable stuff. All linked in the description, teespring.com/stores/movie meals. Great stuff. We've got new things dropping for the summer, which will be really, really cool. And yeah, as always, thank you for watching, Mom.
See you guys.